Hello and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, and today we're talking about a problem I've never had with hydroponic growing, and I don't think it's a problem anywhere in the UK, but it is a problem elsewhere, and it's a problem I've seen on Reddit, so I thought I would talk about it and explain why it's such an issue. It's a problem, it's a pest that doesn't harm your plants in any way that I can see, and it's mosquitoes. So why would mosquitoes be an issue for hydroponic growers? They're not going to be harming the plant. They're not going to be, even them, their larvae are going to be cleaning up your fertigation solution by eating the microbes and the algae in it. So surely they're a good thing, mosquitoes. Well, no, because you don't want a hydroponic system that is got horrible mosquitoes that can bite you and potentially transmit horrible diseases to your workers and the surrounding population. So you'd be a bit of a pariah if you were the source of a massive mosquito outbreak in your region. So they can become an issue, especially if you've got stagnant water in a fertigation tank. They become a breeding ground for the larvae, especially if your fertigation tank has got algae growing in it and biofilms, things like this. That's what the larvae will be feeding on. So a reservoir that doesn't have a cover on it will be, so the mosquitoes can get in and lay their eggs. Sheltered, humid environments like greenhouses and indoor grow rooms provide ideal hatching conditions, especially if you've got leaky reservoirs, clogged drains, or poor airflow. They create a sort of perfect storm. So you need to make sure your hydroponic system is clean and recirculating. So where will you find mosquitoes in hydroponics? You'll find them in NFT channels, where there's standing water at the ends of the channels. That's a place where larvae can build up and feed. You'll find them in drainage troughs that don't fully empty, overflow trays using media beds and pots, reservoirs with open tops, as I've said, and condensation pooling, even if there's anywhere like that. So it's important to remember that even just a small amount of water, a few milliliters, can support mosquito breeding. Some species can lay eggs in damp sponge or root matting, so you can lay the eggs in the rock wool, the mineral wool. So why does it matter? You can have stressed workers and visitors in commercial operations, spread of diseases in tropical and subtropical regions. The obvious one being malaria. You don't want to have malaria. It's not going to be affected into your crops, but it's going to debilitate you and your workforce and the surrounding population. It's just an indication of poor sanitation or ventilation in your growing system as well. If you've got mosquitoes growing, you've probably got the ideal situation for other pests and pathogens like Pythium and Phytophthora that are going to love unsterile, is that a word? Dirty fertigation tanks and things like this. So it's an indication that you've not got everything sorted in your hydroponic system. So in rare cases, mosquito larvae can even survive in filter systems and reduce flow and clog emitters. So they can actually lead to degradation of the hydroponic system itself. So how are you going to prevent mosquitoes if you've got them? I've seen some horror stories on Reddit of people with hydroponic tanks, DWC tanks, non-circulatory DWC. They lift the lid and there's just loads of mosquito larvae swimming around. So eliminate stagnant water, check for puddles under benches, introduce something that's going to kill the larvae. So experiment with a sterilizing agent like hydrogen peroxide. You could even heat up the solution, refresh it, get rid of it, and start again with a new solution. Make sure you've got covers on all the open reservoirs so that the adults can't fly in and lay eggs. Introduce water movement, a small pump or air stone to prevent larvae survival. If they can be sucked into a filter and then disposed of, then that's probably the best option. Improve ventilation. Use yellow sticky traps to monitor the population of mosquitoes as well as pests. You could look at in your area whether BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, that bacteria can be used as a biological larvicide. It's deadly to mosquito larvae. It'd be safe for your plants. You can't buy that in the UK, but then again, we don't have mosquitoes that are a problem over here. Never use household insecticides near your hydroponic system. That's the key. They may drift into your nutrient reservoirs, coat leaves. While they might be fine for you to apply as a spray in an indoor situation, they could be very harmful if they're ingested on a fruit or smoked on a smokable crop. So never do that. Can they spread? Can a mosquito spread a plant pathogen? That's another question. Can a flying mosquito? Very, very unlikely, because the mosquitoes are traveling from animal to animal or from pond to animal. They're not traveling from plant to plant, say like a midge would be or an aphid. So they're not going to be carrying grey mold spores or viruses, because they're not sticking their proboscis into plants and landing on plants. They're sticking their proboscis into a cow or a chicken or something like that. So very, very unlikely. They're more likely just a sign of poor control. You might mistake them for fungus gnats as well. So that's something to consider. So make sure you're able to identify the difference. And just like any pest, integrated pest management is key. So monitor, if they're becoming an issue, monitor them weekly, see how effective your control systems are. Train your staff to report the pools and drips and things like this, and avoid standing water, not just in your fertigation tank, but also in your gullies, in any drainage areas, pipes and things like this, anywhere where mosquitoes could get into. Close the system up, make it tighter. So Florida would be, there's a number of examples in Florida of mosquitoes breeding in the base of trays under hydroponic towers. Despite having clean nutrient lines, no water accumulation, they can be created in a mosquito factory, as it were. Hydroponic system, you've got lots of water, lots of biofilms, potentially lots of algae. So all those tips, aeration stones, filters, things like this, sealing it in, all could help prevent mosquito infestations and massive increases in mosquito numbers before you know it. The good news is you can get control within a matter of weeks. As well as it occurring fast, it can be controlled fast. In outdoor sort of aquaponics and ornamental systems, you can't just seal up the tanks and things like that. But you could potentially, in aquaponics, because you're using fish, you could use the mosquito fish, Gambusia, or predatory copepods. They can introduce to control larvae. However, they won't give 100% control. So you might have to live with some mosquitoes in outdoor aquaponic systems. And, you can't introduce insecticides if you're growing fish. So as I've always said about aquaponics, you've got to optimize for the plants and the fish, or be able to suffer problems with one of them. So mosquitoes in hydroponics is not on the pressing matter for most growers, but you could find yourself, if you're growing DWC or you've got a big fertigation tank and you've got biofilms and you're in a tropical area, you could find yourself with an unwanted infestation of mosquitoes. So don't wait until it's unbearable. Get proactive, be able to identify what a mosquito larvae looks like as well, because you might have this issue and you might not even realize it. So that's been Hydroponics Daily for today. Mosquitoes in hydroponics, something you never thought about before, and now it's going to keep you awake at night thinking, have I got mosquitoes in there? I'm just going to go get out of bed, go and check what's in my fertigation tank. So you can thank me for all that worry and unnecessary worry and stress. Until tomorrow, that's been Hydroponics Daily. Thank you very much for listening.